plays a major role in human life. During pregnancy, food intake is very important as they determine the health of the growing fetus. Some foods when taken during pregnancy is hazardous both for the mother and the growing fetus. In this video, let us discuss about the foods that we have to avoid during pregnancies that can endanger the mother as well as the fetus. Anything that is eaten in excess can be harmful, particularly during the pregnancy period. Some foods, when consumed in excess quantity, can cause adverse effects on the mother as well as on the fetus. Pineapple, a very sweet and a tasty fruit, contains bromelain, which causes softening of the cervix and also initiates uterine contraction that can lead to miscarriages, particularly during the early weeks of conception. So it is always better to avoid excess intake of pineapples. Maybe a piece or two can be taken. Next, coming to crabs, there are few varieties of crabs which are very high with mercury content. Example, the blue crab, snow crab and the Dungeness crab. They are very high with mercury content. These mercury can affect the fetal brain and the nervous system, which can also affect the health of the pregnant mother by causing bacterial and parasitical infection. So, it is better to avoid high mercury crabs. If at all you want to consume crabs, the choice can be king crabs, which are very safe during the pregnancy period as they contain very low levels of mercury. You can take limited amount of king crabs in the later periods of pregnancy and try to avoid in the first trimesters. Sesame seeds, when combined with honey, can naturally induce uterine contractions and may lead to abortions in the early pregnancy period. So, always try to avoid sesame seeds during early pregnancies, and use of black sesame seeds in the later pregnancies can help in the labor process. Animal liver contains a compound called as retinol that can cause abortion in the early pregnancy and birth defects in the late pregnancies. It is safe in minor quantities and when cooked properly as it is a good source of vitamin A. Aloe vera, which is a medicinal plant, contains anthraquinone laxatives that can trigger the uterine contractions and can cause uterine bleeding that can lead to abortions. Try to avoid intake of aloe vera in the early pregnancy period, especially in the first trimesters. Unripe papaya or green papaya and their seeds contain the compound of laxatives which may cause premature uterine contractions and land up in abortions. Avoid unripe papaya in the early pregnancy, and ripened papaya can be consumed in the later pregnancies, which is highly nutritious. Drumstick and seeds contain alpha cytosterol, which is harmful during pregnancy if consumed in higher quantities. So, drumsticks and its seeds must be used in limited amounts during the pregnancy period. Unpasteurized milk contains Listeria monocytogenes bacteria that are very harmful during pregnancy. It is always better to consume pasteurized and adequately boiled milk to avoid these type of infections. Intake of caffeine products during pregnancy can cause inadequate uterine perfusions that can cause abortions in the early pregnancy and low birth weight babies in the later pregnancies. So, consumption of caffeine products can be limited to avoid these type of complications. High levels of mercury can cause adverse effects to the brain and the nervous system of the fetus. So, restrict the intake of high mercury fishes even though it is highly nutritious. The fine hair present on the outer shells of the peaches can cause itching and can also lead to excess heat in the body, which causes uterine contractions and leads to internal bleeding. thereby causing miscarriages. So restrict the intake of peaches and see to that the skin is peeled nicely to avoid the intake of hair. Processed meat is commonly contaminated with Toxoplasma gonadie, Listeria, and Salmonella. The uncooked or the undercooked meat can cause miscarriages, preterm delivery, and stillbirths. So, limited intake of well cooked meat can be advised in the later weeks of pregnancy. The raw and the undercooked eggs carry bacteria which is called as salmonella that can lead to food poisoning, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain and fever. In some rare cases, they can also cause miscarriages. Must be cooked adequately until the white of the egg and the yolk becomes solid. Raw vegetables which is not cooked properly contains Toxoplasma gonadie parasite that can cause toxoplasmosis which can cause harm to the fetus inside the womb. Washing of vegetables and fruits thoroughly with salt and turmeric can prevent these type of infections. Undercooked or uncooked seafoods such as shellfish, oysters, sashimi, prawns are contaminated with tapeworms and viruses which can cause listerious infections that cause food poisoning, preterm labor and miscarriages. Tamarind contains increased amount of vitamin C which if taken in excess amount can suppress the production of progesterone. Decreased level of the hormone progesterone can lead to miscarriages or abortion in the early weeks of pregnancies. Grapes contains a compound called as resveratrol which causes increase in the body temperature and cause imbalance in the hormone levels that can induce uterine contractions when consumed in larger quantities, especially in the first trimesters. Drinking alcohol can increase the risk of miscarriage, stillbirth and fetal alcoholic syndrome. Hope this was a useful video. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more videos.